What's up, Album Book Club? Today we're interviewing Blue-Eyed Giants. We did an EP review on them a while back. Let's see what they have to say. First question, where did the name come from?
We've been a band years now, and when we were first starting off, we were like, it's always the hardest thing to try and come up with a name, because like no matter what, you're gonna have arguments in the band. Oh no, I don't like that one. Oh yeah, or like three of the people might like it, and then one person's like, nah, and that just kept happening. And then we stumbled across this name, but I was on holiday in Ireland at the time, and I lost internet signal for about an hour to 2 hours. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, they're probably going to still coming up with names or whatever. And then by the time my signal came back, they were like, oh, yeah, we've settled on this name, Blue-Eyed Giants. And I was like, oh, like, I'm not completely sold on it, but we've gone through so many names and stuff. I was just like, oh, do you know what? Fine, let's just go with it. And then it came from, did you guys ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it came from Game of Thrones. It's like in the first ever episode, somebody says to Bran, oh yeah, we all live in the eye of a blue-eyed giant.
The sky is blue because we live inside the eye of a blue-eyed giant named Macumba.
As their sort of like theory for like God or whatever, or heaven or whatever. And we were like, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Let's just go with that. And initially I didn't like it, but now I do. It's one of those things that kind of grows on you. But Connor's literally just walked into it. So sorry, Connor, you didn't really have a say, did you?
We want to know some of your guys' biggest inspirations.
Okay, cool. So I think an obvious one is Biffy Clyro. I imagine those guys have made it over stateside. But yeah, Biffy Clyro. Foo Fighters. I think they're like the fundaments. But if I was to go a little more into detail, I'd say, I mean, these bands are a little bit more obscure. I think I don't know how much they're sort of recognized over in the States, but bands like Lower Than Atlantis and Don Broco. I don't know if you boys have heard of them.
I've not. No.
Yeah, the band's kind of based in like the south of England, and it's kind of like it's like a bit techie rock sung with like a semi-English accent is like the best way I could describe it, really. But I think lately our sound is kind of morphing and kind of adapting and maturing. So bands more like Sleep Token and like Bad Omens, Spirit Box, this new wave of what is actually referred to as baddiecore has actually been like quite a big influence on us. More so like the new material that we're doing. And we'll probably sort of get into this a bit more, but at the moment we're like just focusing on new material, lots and lots of writing. And our influences have really like shifted to bands like that.
We want to know a little bit more about your writing process, how like certain parts are written, who does what kind of thing.
So it's changed. So the last EP, that was the way we've always done it. So it was sort of, and our lineup's changed since then as well. So Connor's come in, new guitar player, and we've just recently added a new bass player. So it's changed from now to then, but then was more sort of like I'll come up with like a riff or come up with maybe a vocal line, but it mainly started with riffs, and then sort of I'd do the music first, sort of demo it out, jam it in the rehearsal space, and then vocals and lyrics will like come last basically. And they've almost not been an afterthought, because that's not doing it justice, but I've always been focusing on the music and making the music sound cool or weird or whatever, and then do the vocals afterwards. Because I just became a singer. Like I was never like, I was a drummer basically. Learned to play bit guitar, and then we couldn't find anyone to play music with, so I was like, right, I'm just gonna start writing songs then. So it's I don't know, tricky. There's no right way or wrong way of doing it, but that was the way generally, riff and then build it from there. But now we've sort of we sort of that process got really stale. So we were like, oh, what are we going to do? How are we going to sort of freshen things up in our writing and things like that? And then we brought on our friend, who's now kind of like our manager, but he does a bit of everything. So like he plays music himself, he writes, he plays guitar, does music business stuff. But he sort of was like, right, I know you guys are a bit stuck, things got a bit stale for you. Let's try and sort of take the writing down a different route. So the writing now has become like, just do voice notes. So if there's any like little melody or anything, like a riff or whatever, voice note it, do like as many as you can, and then we'll pop them into like a sort of spreadsheet or whatever. We'll all vote, choose the best kind of basic ideas. Now these are really bad ideas, so like bad quality. So it's just like that kind of thing into your phone, and like they sound terrible, but like there might be something about them. Then we vote, and then we pick the best ones, and then we work on them as songs. So we try and get the vocals and the lyrics done pretty much like straight away. So get basic chords and then build the songs that way. Because the other way we were doing it wasn't really working, because it was like, right, here's some music, and now let's just do the music, the lyrics afterwards. So it's like an afterthought. Now it's like, let's make them really good songs, and then we can add all the other stuff afterwards. Like we can add the riffs, the time signatures, any cool tricky bits. But as long as there's a core song there, it's going to be cool, and it's going to work. Because a good song, you can play it with a person, an acoustic guitar or a piano, or with a full band. Do you know what I mean? Then that's how that's a telltale sign of a good song, right? So that's the kind of process that we move to now, and we've been so inspired from doing that, haven't we, Connor? Like we've been like churning like songs out. Like things aren't going to be out for a little bit, but it still sounds like us, but it's fairly different.
I'd actually like to expand on that. Nick would never say this because he's too humble, but Nick could play, you know, he's already touched on this a little bit, but he could play drums, vocals, guitar and bass, but to like a very high level. So because Nick to a very high level, but so when it comes to the writing process, when Nick would come up with like the initial idea, the initial like foundation for what the songs are, he would build on top of it with the other instrumentation, which kind of meant like, I think it's probably fair to say 90% of the songwriting actually did come from Nick. But now we're really kind of like turning it upside down in our approach to like this new material we're writing. So like a lot of us individually in the band are coming up with the initial idea. And we're also like sometimes starting with the lyrical theme and putting more of an emphasis on the lyrical theme. So the whole approach to it now is very, very different. And I think that's kind of going to be shown in the new music and how it's going to sound.
Speaking of that new music, there any projects in the works? Anything we can expect anytime soon?
There'll be something out. I'm pretty sure there'll be something out this year. We don't know what form it's going to take. So we don't know whether it's going to be like singles, or an EP, or an album. We talked about doing an album. If it will be an album, it will be probably a longer process. But we've already written like 4 or 5 songs. Would you say, Connor? Yeah, more than that. Yeah, probably more. Well, there's 4 or 5 sort of ready, sort of almost like 90% there, and then there's a few bits and pieces that are sort of like, you know, 50% there or whatever. But this is the most fun I think I've had writing ever, I think. And then like, because Connor's come in with like so many ideas, and it's completely changed the sort of writing process, and it makes things more exciting. It's also less pressure for me. Like the other day we wrote a Tool song, didn't we? Like a you know, like a kind of Tool riff kind of song. And it was really cool. It's kind of like mixed, like Tool mixed with like Audio Slave, and like it was, and then there's like that weird like groove in the middle that's a little bit like Tesseract. So it's like it's really kind of all coming together, and it's fun. It's just become fun again. I think we're the best we've ever been, like with Connor and Sam in the band now. Not to do any disservice to the guys before, because they've been great, but everything's just fitted together so nicely now. So hopefully you'll get a song sort of end of the year kind of time. September.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just saying this to like give some like disingenuous like sales pitch, but like we say this often. This is the best stuff we've ever written, and in terms of how it feels, like the band is at such a high point right now. I mean, just to tell you a little bit about it. It's kind of like, like metal with like pop melodies, but like with a real like emotive alternative rock vibe to it. And we're just kind of like marrying those genres together. And I really just think, as like fans of those genres, we're writing the music we want to hear as fans. And I think because that's been like our approach, we're really happy with it, and it sounds so good. So yeah, like, we've got this new manager in, we've got like a big team behind us. We've changed our sort of approach to like the songwriting, and yeah, as a result, it's just feeling so good right now. Like, you've actually caught us at like a real high point in the band.
Just speaking of your guys' EPs, the last album art changed multiple times, and we were hoping to get the story of that.
That was just a mess up, basically, because the actual EP art was, oh god, I'm trying to find the picture on Spotify. Basically, we tried to do a new single cover. So basically, it was always going to be an EP, so a 5-track EP. There was going to be an EP artwork, but then there also was going to be artwork for each single that came out, which was the plan. But for some weird reason, when it went up on Spotify, it just showed the latest artwork with all the songs that were released there, if that makes sense. So like, it would change every time a single would come out, but a song would be added. But then the actual proper artwork didn't upload properly for some reason, so it was a technical issue. So the actual proper art is supposed to be the last one that went up, I think. That's what it was supposed to be the whole time. So that was supposed to be like the EP artwork. But I don't know, whatever way it went up on Spotify, that didn't show until the very end. And it was all supposed to be that. So I don't know what happened. It was like a technical thing, annoyingly. But we can't really do much about it. But next time, it's going to be better.
Is there any tour plans or a US tour at any point?
So in February, we came off a UK tour, which was amazing. I think in terms of tours, I think next is like mainland Europe. So it's kind of like renowned, like more so like Germany is like one of the best places in Europe that you could tour. So like that's something like me personally, I'm really looking forward to do first. But I think we just got to like work our way up before touring the biggest like music market in the world. I mean, yeah, like to be honest with you, like, yeah, that's like top of my bucket list. That is my dream to.
I'd love to drive around in a van in
yeah.
the US.
I've got an American girlfriend, so I'll have a word with her, see what she could arrange for us.
And say, yeah.
Oh, it would be.
Get your ass over. We'll be there.
So we always close out these interviews with asking for an album suggestion from you guys, so we can review it on the actual podcast part of this. So what is an album you guys think we should listen to?
Let me see. Because I don't want to give you something too obvious, but I don't want to give you something too obscure as well. Or actually, if you've never heard of Biffy, right? Okay. Biffy Clyro is the name of the band, and the album is called Infinity Land. It's a very strange album. It's very, very weird. Like loads of weird time signatures. They're like a 3-piece band from Scotland, and they're quite big over here. I don't think they're that big in the US, but they came from like this weird sort of like proggy math rocky, like it's quite math rocky. It's very weird. It's not. I wouldn't say it's heavy, but for like a 3-piece band doing weird shit, it's still cool, and it's got heavy elements to it. So I'd give that a go. I'd love to watch that review.
I've got a few. Okay, so check this out. All right. So I'll start with the obscure one. There's a band called, I think they're based in London, well, they're definitely based in the UK, but they're called Graphic Nature, and they dropped an album called A Mind's Waiting to Die. So it's like unbelievably heavy, more so like lyrically, like emotionally, it's so fucking heavy. And then the one that me and Nick love, to be fair, this album came out last year. So a band called Invent Animate, the album is called Heavener. Incredible album, like unbelievably
sick.
good.
But now comes for the best time. This is the plug your shit section. Shout out anything you want to shout out. Plug your stuff. Let the world know who you are.
We've got some local shows coming up. Right now, I'm afraid I can't actually say the dates for them. But all I can say is please just like keep your eyes peeled on our socials. So yeah, Blue Eyed Giants on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, if you still use that, if you remember that thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Instagram and TikTok, because we got some like big shows coming up in London. And then we're mainly just putting all our focus onto songwriting at the moment. As discussed, coming up with the best material we've ever written. So just stay around and get ready for the best stuff that we've ever written.
Thank you guys so much for your time. We really do appreciate it.